regularly with how I lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for 30 plus years. So there should be no hesitation in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to talk about somebody that I knew who lost a lot of weight and has yo-yoed it back, plus a couple other things this person did. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my books, my recipes over at naturopathicearth.com, my podcast, The Awakened Man, which has been around since 2017. And if you appreciate my content, there is a link for PayPal. All right, so I'll keep this vague because this has to do with somebody that's, of course, alive. We know the statistics about yo-yo dieting, and I've mentioned it before. Depending on which stat you look at, anywhere from 80 to 90% of people who lose 50 pounds or more gain it back or more within 3 years. So some of you can relate to this, some of you can't, either because you've lost the weight and kept it off like I have, or maybe you've never lost the weight. But we know that crash dieting is not sustainable and it's not tenable because why? Because normally the means to lose the weight was something that was not sustainable. We have an episode here, Avoid the Puritanical Purists, the ones who say the only way you can lose weight is by eliminating fill in the blank your whole life, like gluten. No, I mean that's not sustainable for the large majority of people. We also have an episode here, Avoid the people who say all you need to do to lose weight is fill in the blank, some magic thing. No. It's 1,000 little things, 1,000 little changes. But anyway, so I know this person, and they were overweight. They were not really an overweight child so much, but in the 20s, this person gained a lot of weight, and they were pretty obese. And by the time I met them, they were in the process of losing most of it. Now, they lost this weight mostly through weight loss, but also bariatric. A lot of it was bariatric. And this person, when I met them, was about 4 or 5 years ago, had lost most of the weight, as I mentioned, and this person wanted to get a lot of plastic surgery. And I told this person, I'm like, there's no need to get the plastic surgery. I mean, and we talked about this over at the Reflections of a Weight Loss Warrior channel episode I did on my bloopy, my loose skin around my abdomen. And when I decided whether or not I should go under the knife to try to get this stuff removed, and I decided not to because I just was very averse to any type of surgery. And I also thought it was a little vain for me to do it, but that's my choice. So this person lost a lot of weight via bariatric surgery, and this person was actually having some luck with the opposite sex, but they wanted to keep going under the knife. And by the time I met this person had gone under the knife for like post-weight loss stuff like 3 or 4 times, and they were doing more surgery. So, for the saggy arms, for the bloopy, and some other things. But this person, I would ask him, it's like, what's the next surgery for? And a lot of it was just getting more plastic surgery. Anyway, so I lost touch with this person about 4 years ago. And, Facebook is you just look up people from your past, see how they're doing. And this person had gained a lot of weight back. But more important, I think this person had a lot of bad plastic surgery. Fake lips, I mean, just the overly plump lips. And I found it to be sad. I found it to be sad for a couple of things. And I think one is, of course, they gain the weight back, which is not uncommon. And why do a lot of people gain the weight back? I feel, and again, this channel is just about my opinion on my experience with the weight loss and maintenance, is, of course, childhood trauma. What led you to have a disordered relationship with food? Whether it's some trauma in childhood, I normally think it's abuse or neglect, but sometimes it's as an adult. So you gain weight by disordered eating. It's not typically a glandular problem. It's just, let's be honest, let's call it what it is. If we have an episode here, let's stop with the BS. 90% of people are fat because of trauma. So they use food to numb the pain, whatever it is, breakups or just whatever the issue is. And then they gain the weight and then they lose the weight. But since they never dealt with the trauma inside, they're going to gain the weight back. Because again, there's going to be some adversity in their life where they're just going to turn back to the food. You could only crash diet and do these unbearable diets so long. And with bariatric's a little different. We'll have a separate episode on bariatric surgery in the future, but look, they didn't have bariatric surgery in 1990 when I lost my weight. But there's some issues with bariatric surgery. We know there's a higher suicide rate. That's why people who get it done have to have a mental health evaluation ahead of time. There's certain foods you can't eat. There's, of course, a certain amount of food you can't eat. And they're never dealing with the problem. In some ways, it's better, I think, to lose weight the normal way and then try to figure out how to maintain it, because bariatric surgery never addresses the disordered eating. It's just like, oh, here's this quick panacea. Oh my God, I lost 200 pounds, which is great because we want people to live a long time. We want life longevity. But then they're dealing with all these problems now, the gastric pain and not being able to eat that much and having the nausea and all these things. But they never dealt with the childhood trauma. They never dealt with those issues. So it's not surprising that they're going to gain the weight back because they didn't do the childhood trauma. That's why I'm telling you many times in a lot of these episodes, it's like, look in the mirror. And I know not everybody is good with introspection and good with being kind of cognizant or want to deal with the problems of their past. But to truly have weight loss and weight maintenance, you do need to do these things, in my humble opinion. But when you don't do these things, eventually, many times you're going to gain the weight back because you're going to go back to numbing the pain. So with this person, they gained, I would say, maybe 50% of the weight back. And a lot of bad plastic surgery. And there's really not a place for plastic surgery here at this type of channel, but plastic surgery is kind of the same issue with kind of the disordered eating. I have a hole in my life, and I feel that, fill in the blank, excessive tattoos, tattooing will make me feel better. It's a form of self-expression. Or plastic surgery will make me feel better. And that's why you see a lot of these celebrities who get more and more and more plastic surgery. Remember, like Renee Zellweger, Nicole Kidman, they couldn't see their eyes. You know, a lot of these people have even more grotesque plastic surgery. A lot of the old actresses, when they get in their 50s and 60s and 70s, look at Madonna, for example. And they're trying to fill a hole. And I always say lots of times that hole is there because they don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so they fill it with another ism. And sometimes it's veganism, sometimes it's environmentalism, and sometimes it's just they can't even make that connection. So they think, okay, well, I'll feel better by doing all this plastic surgery because there's this innate insecurity underneath all this. The same thing with obese people, right? We have this innate insecurity. So I think if I do more surgeries to look better and more plastic surgery in my face and lips and all the facials, facelifts and all, I'm going to feel better. But ultimately you don't, because you're not getting to the source problem. So in closing, in my opinion, to have long-term weight loss and weight maintenance, you got to get to the source problem. Go to therapy. First, acknowledge it, go to therapy and address it, and you won't have the disordered eating as much. I talk about this in the later episodes of Reflections to get to the point where I'm at now. And so in closing, it's sad to see this person gain the weight back and have all this plastic surgery because they haven't, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, they haven't done the deep work, because I feel if they'd done the deep work, they wouldn't, A, be gaining the weight, and B, find the need to have plastic surgery that is not even unequivocally, but making them look worse. And I'm sure people in their life are like, you don't need this plastic surgery, but they still have that hole, right? And this is how they're filling it. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Please hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care. God bless. And pray.